everyone, and welcome to another episode of Transcendence Talks with Suzanne Ross, the founder of the Transcendence Retreat. I'm Tangela, the founder of SoulSearch and SoulSearch TV, and I'm delighted to be welcoming Dahlia Burgoyne to the show today. Dahlia is a devoted mother of four, author, and energy arts practitioner specializing in awakening humanity's natural intuitive abilities. She trains in a yin style bioenergy system to support healing and enhance psi capacities like telepathy and extraocular, which is blindfolded vision. And she actually helps to activate mind sight in both adults and blind individuals, and advocates for spelling to communication and telepathy as accessible forms of nonverbal communication. And she is here as part of the ascension, part of the awakening, bringing all of these incredible gifts that she practices as well as teaches about out to the world. So welcome, Dahlia.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And it's been an amazing year. And so much of this is coming out. And every day I'm learning so much more myself and about what we're capable of. And it's just so exciting to try and share it with everyone.
Amazing.
Dahlia and I were just at the Psy Games event. So Hakeem Isler hosted the Psy Games International event in Charlottesville, Virginia. And I am so glad that I went. I got to witness Dahlia and her beautiful daughter, Lidu, perform 100% accurate mind sight and telepathy. And it just blew everyone's mind. And I think the thing that was most powerful and compelling is that their message is that we can all do this. We all have these gifts and abilities.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I know that we can all do extraocular vision, mind sight. I already know that. And I trust Lilu. She says we can all use our telepathy and we can all be just as good as her. I know that in a logical place, but I still had an issue thinking I couldn't do what Lilu does. So right after the Psy Games, we were on an airplane and I said, you know what, Lilu, let's do it the opposite. You send me a message and I'll spell it out. And I got four in a row and I was like, whoa, this is nuts, and we stopped. And then last night I tried it again. I said, all right, Lily, let's practice with me again because I'm always trying to progress her and help her practice. And we tried it again yesterday and we did probably 15 in a row and I got them all. And then I even had her write the words down first and hide it and then have me say it. And at first I was spelling it the way Lilu does. And I said, wait a minute, I can speak. Let me actually just say the word. And I was able to. And so I was like, wow, I can do this too. This is so incredible. And so it's exciting for me. I'm still learning myself and about the telepathy and I'm so excited to spread this the more I learn.
That's incredible. So tell us a little bit about how you came into, this telepathy work and about you and about Lidu.
Yeah, so how do I even begin? Lidu started out as she was 2 years old, and I started seeing her have this savant ability. So the first thing I noticed with Lidu was her typing on my computer, and she wasn't just typing like two-letter words or something. She was typing big words like outrageous and ostentatious, and she was spelling like when I walked in the room she had already spelled about five of them and I was seeing her spell more and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I must have a genius child. I have a 2-year old now and I have a 4-year old and a 6-year old. None of them could come even close to doing what Lita was doing at 2 years old. And she was also doing incredible artwork around the house. She would and she knew how to do things that no one ever taught her. So one thing she would do is she would take toilet paper rolls and she would mix it with water and mix it with all kinds of stuff and she would put it all over the wall. And then at first I'd be like, what did you just do? But then I'd notice, wait a minute, this is a work of art. She just created a mural. And so she was doing all kinds of stuff like that too. And so I remember telling my husband, I said, hey, we have a genius child here. And he was like, I don't know, though. I think she might be delayed. And so it ended up being that she was an autistic savant. I didn't know about the telepathy, though, until much later when we started having her spell. And she didn't start spelling until she was 11. And it took about 6 months to become open. And that's when you're able to communicate. And at that stage, she was only able to communicate with me through her provider. So I would drive to the provider just to have a conversation with Lidu. And it was like that for 2 years. I practiced with her every day. Finally, around the 2-year mark is when Lidu opened with me and I was able to talk to her. And that's when she started to tell me about her gifts. And she said, the first time she told me about her gifts is I was telling her how we all have special skills, and I said, you have skills too. You're able to do this amazing artwork. She has a skill where she can take music and she can make it go backwards. She could sing you a song backwards if she heard it, the melody, the lyrics, the words, everything. She can write down, if you give her a word, she can write it backwards and you can put it in a mirror. It comes out perfect. She even does artwork backwards if she's going to put it on glass. So I said, you have all of these amazing skills. Is there anything else you do that you think you do better than the rest of us? And that's when she said, well, I can discern spirits. That was the first thing she said. And I said, wait a minute, what do you mean by that? And she says, oh, I can tell them all apart, the different types of entities that are out there. And so we go into this conversation, and it just takes me into this huge rabbit hole of telepathy and about the hill. And well, she didn't call it the hill back then. This was before the telepathy tape. She just basically said she went to a place where all her friends were, and she had many, many mentors her entire life. And so it just went into this huge rabbit hole, and I was learning so much. At the same time, I was developing my abilities with mindsight. She didn't actually tell me I needed to do it, but I remember having an experience where I knew I was supposed to do it. It was an actual mystical experience where I woke up one day in the future. It was like I woke up in another timeline, and I saw myself with the blindfold on, and I was seeing in the entire room. And I've had this happen before, waking up in another timeline. I know it sounds crazy, but I've never met anyone else that could do it until I mentioned it. And then I found out other people have had that experience. So, um, but yes, after that I thought, okay, I need to figure out how to actually see through the blindfold, because right now I'm really good at telling things apart from all my other senses, but I don't actually see. Like, I don't actually see colors or anything, or am not able to read. And so at first I did something called dark walking, or that's what I called it, where I had the blindfold on, and I was able to get around everywhere with the blindfold on, because all of a sudden all of these outlines started to appear. But it was almost like walking around in a ultrasound or something. And I just remember outlines were appearing, and I really loved it. It was really fun. I did it for about 6 months. But it wasn't until I actually went to a retreat where they teach extraocular vision. And the people I went with, they were very new to doing retreats. And so I went, and I opened on the second day. But the way I opened was, we sat out in the sun, and the sun shined on me, and all of a sudden I was able to see. It was very little. I was only seeing colors, and it was behind my head. But I remember thinking, I figured this out. It's the sun that activates it. And ever since then, I've been able to train it, and it's definitely trainable. And so is telepathy, and so is a lot of other abilities. But that's just in a nutshell, a bit of how it started. And it's only been about a year, and it has really grown. Like, it's just being trained, and people are starting to learn about it. It's really making a huge impact.
And so I received a text message from you one day about how you're helping other people have vision without eyes who are challenged to see.
Yes, and that is the most amazing part about all of this. Is it's actually I'm extremely passionate about that right now. So yes, so a lot of people think it's a big deal for adults to be able to see with the blindfold. But me, I just kind of took it like, yes, of course, we have this extraocular vision, and we have this ability. We're just not using it very much, but once we turn it on, we can use it. And so I remember thinking, why can't a blind person do it? And so I actually have worked with blind people, and people with no eyes, born blind, entirely born blind. And not only are they able to see light, which they've never seen before or sensed before, but they're also able to read, and they're able to know depth perception, and it's incredible. Like, we really don't need our eyes to be able to perceive the world in a visual way. And that's what's getting out there now, and I'm so excited to be a part of it. It feels very similar to what my daughter is doing with her telepathy and showing the world that we all have telepathic abilities. And we're entering into this new paradigm where people are going to look back and say, hey, I can't believe we used to think that there was no telepathy, or we used to think that you needed your eyes to see. And it's going to be different, and I'm so excited to be a part of it.
Yep. I mean, this is the future that we are co-creating together, one where, all of these incredible gifts are coming into manifestation into the world. And you and Lidu are really on the leading edge here because you are demonstrating that as well as teaching. And of course, even just being able to watch a demonstration or experience a demonstration is a consciousness shifting experience for anyone who's watching or listening, because all of a sudden everything that we've been told, that telepathy isn't real, that you have to have your eyes to see, you all are now showing us, wait a minute, that's not true. So if that's not true, what else is possible for us? It's really mind blowing, and that you guys are able to share this in this way, and you're going to be bringing it also to the San Diego retreat, which you all will be doing a demonstration there as well, right?
Yes. It's so funny because I was always a person that never wanted to be in the limelight. I did an energy practice. I practiced every day. It was always word of mouth. I never really wanted to be out there. But I remember it was just about last year, around the time my mindset got really strong, and my daughter's telepathy was getting strong. I remember getting this strong urge from the other side saying, hey, it's time for this stuff to get out there. And it was just always validated by my daughter. Yep, we are supposed to do this together. Just was a soul contract we did beforehand. And once my daughter was on board, even before she was on board, it was just like, yeah, I'm totally fine. Something I never would have been okay with before, I'm totally fine with it. And like you said, um, just seeing it actually makes it so that other people can access it. Even without training, a lot of people can access it. When I was at the Psy Games, when I was on stage, I was showing that you can see without your eyes. I was blindfolded. And I even said, there are windows that open up when you are doing this work. And you can look out those windows and you can see. And as I described that to the audience, and I was performing, afterwards, many people in the audience told me and said, hey, when I closed my eyes, because you mentioned the windows, as you were up there, I also saw windows for the first time in my life, and I was able to follow along with you and answer all of the colors. And what was amazing is probably 10 people told me that. And I said, wow, just from watching it got spread. And so it's incredible, like, what these abilities are. And I feel like I didn't really do much to train myself in telepathy. It just happened from watching my daughter do it and her consistently telling me, hey, you're the same, you can do it too. It's so easy to tell yourself they're different for some reason. Like, it was really easy, even though I knew for certain that with mindsight, anyone could do this. But with the telepathy, it was really easy to tell myself, well, my daughter has a different neurological makeup than I do. And she's a non-speaker, autistic. She's different. And that's why she can do it and I can't. And she says, nope, you can still do it. And so it's so funny that even we can have these limited ideas, even when it's right in front of our face. And so, yeah, we're all just kind of learning, and I'm learning, and an amazing learning process. And I'm so excited to do the Bliss on the Bay and the seminar, the retreat. I'm so excited because I know it's going to have the right frequency of love and people just being ready to see this stuff. Not only that, I was like I was telling you guys before, Lilu tuned into it. She has this ability to just go into a timeline and see what's going to happen. And Lilu said it was going to be amazing. And so I usually ask her before I even say yes to an event, like, hey, are we supposed to do that? Is it going to be good? And she said it right in front of Susan. Like, she said it, yeah, it's going to be great. And so I'm really excited for it.
Aw, thank you for that. And at the retreat, not only will you be demonstrating the mind, sight, and telepathy, but you'll be giving people some techniques to develop their own gifts and abilities. And Hakeem will be doing a psychic play on the bay workshop where, you and Lido are welcome to join him, and, people can sign up for this workshop. But the idea is the same. He gives you the opportunity in a playful way to try and practice telepathy. And I don't know if he's going to do mind sight too, but these different psychic gifts and abilities, like at his event, which included, remote viewing and other psychic abilities. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. You can come and learn how to do this.
I love that. I love the psychic play thing, because that's how I always teach people to progress, is through play. Everything needs to be through play. Even with Lidu, I help her progress every day. Never on psychic abilities. She's already, I don't know how I can teach her, but what I do help her progress in is her ability to be in our dimension and to communicate the way we do, so that we can understand her in the way we normally understand. And it's always through play. It's just I've heard before that the fastest way to learn something is when you're in a playful mood, and you can learn it. I think they said 30 times faster, if you're doing, and I probably got that number wrong, but it's a really high number like that. You can learn it so much faster if you're in a playful mood versus if you're just kind of cram it in and study it that way. And so I really love the idea, and I've highly recommend training in psychic development through play. And that's the way children do it, and that's the way we do it. It's best to be in a playful mood, in a loving, playful mood. I just love the whole environment that you're setting up for the retreat. It's going to be so incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful how you're sharing that, you've also developed this in a relatively short period of time, Dahlia. So it's not like you have been doing this for decades. You also learned through your daughter, which I think is so beautiful, because, you're talking about play. And, with her, you were not under some pressure of like, okay, I have to learn this for this purpose, but just through, just through being with your daughter and seeing her gifts and diving into that. And then now being able to share your experience of coming into those gifts with others, so that, we can also dive in with play, which I think is amazing. And Suzanne, Hakeem's workshop sounds incredible as well. And I just love the whole idea of all of this, because that's all about, returning to our inner child. We all have gotten so serious in this paradigm right now. And I think we're here to kind of start unlocking some of our inner child, our playfulness, our fun, and take a cue from some of our galactic families and everything, to not take everything so seriously all the time. So I love that.
Yes. I had an out of body experience, my first one, like years ago. And I was able to see these other beings. And I remember what they told me, and I still think about it to this day. They said, you take things very seriously. You forgot that this whole thing was a game that you decided to play. And so don't be so serious. And I remember having a couple more after that, and the same message would come up. And so every time I do take things a little too seriously, I remember, wait a minute, this was a game I decided to play. It's kind of like, yeah, you ever see children playing cops and robbers or something, and they'll actually get so much into it that they actually will get upset with each other because they forget, like, hey, this was a game the whole time. And what I love about the whole play aspect, it just, and seeing people doing it, like normal people doing this stuff, because there is this idea out there that in order to access psychic abilities, you have to meditate for hours, or maybe just do it for 10 years, and you have to have a strict diet, and you have to do all of this stuff just to be able to touch these abilities. And so there's this idea out there that it has to be hard, and no, it doesn't. These are just natural senses we have. And I want to just put it out there, like, you can't just be a mother. You can be someone that eats sugar, or drinks caffeine and doesn't fast all the time. I mean, all of those things are wonderful and good, and I love doing them, but you don't have to. You can access these abilities easily. That's another thing, is some people think, oh, I'm going to struggle, and then maybe I'll get it. There's this huge gap between the ability and where I am. In reality, I try to get people to understand, no, it's just as easy as being able to hear something. Like, you can access the ability that easy. You can get to the point where it's not that you do it until you can do it. It's you do it until you can't get it wrong. You can get to a point where you just can't mess it up and you can't get it wrong, and it can be really really easy, just like being able to hear. And another thing I want to put out there is that it is trainable. It's not something that you have to be born with. If you don't automatically know how to do it, which most of us don't because we're not in the society that kind of showed it to us, it is trainable, and it is trainable to be quick and easy. And so that's what I want to put out there, and shift any limiting ideas that it does have to be hard and it does take 20 days in a meditation retreat with no food or anything. Like it really doesn't have to be that hard. And I mean, those are wonderful experiences and I love doing them as well, but it doesn't have to be that hard.
Thank you for bringing that up, because you know what came up for me is when I was going through a period of time where I was really trying to activate my psychic gifts and channeling. I would work on it during a meditative state indoors, but my favorite thing to do is to be outdoors, to be out on nature walks, to be hiking. And I would find that when I went on my nature walks and I would apply these techniques and practices, it would come through so easily. I had my biggest downloads and most miraculous experiences when I was taking these nature walks with my dogs along the stream or on the ocean, or like I lived in Sedona for 10 years. I'd go out and hike in the Red Rocks. And I mean, the miraculous, most supernatural experiences happened for me when I was doing what I love the most.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the energy of you walking your dogs, and this is just what you love. And it's part of your natural state of being, your natural you. You're not going out of your way to be something different, to obtain something. What's interesting is I've always had my experiences, and it was nowhere near as Lidu is just incredibly psychic. I get blown away by what she can do and what she's capable of. But and I still see I'm still doing that with my language where I'm thinking she's much higher than I. But something that she did was interesting to me when she first brought up this concept is I always thought I needed to meditate for about 30 minutes before I had any kind of experience. But she does it in real time. It's just I can ask her, hey, what did the teacher say, or what are people from the other side saying, or I can ask her anything in real time. She could tell you, and it's accurate. And I said, Lidu, what do you do that's different? Because obviously you're doing something more efficient than me. Because me, I'm laying down meditating and doing all this, and I'm still not as good as you are. And so and she says, well, like you just need to go into a state of ecstasy. That's it. And so she says, like the way she does it, and you'll notice if you ever see her, she goes into an extremely childlike state where she's giggling and laughing and moving around, and she's super giggly. And she says that's just her going into a state of ecstasy, and that's all you really need is to just be in a joyful state. It's the much fastest way of doing it. She says you can do it the way I do it, which is deep relaxation and meditating for 40 minutes. And you can do it that way, but her way is the faster way. And so she recommended that I try that. And I said, oh, it's a little embarrassing to do in front of people. So, and I said, I'll just try to practice it in a room or something. But I've tried it maybe twice, just being super giggly and childlike. And I do believe I was able to connect. I haven't done it for a while, but there's something to what she was saying. This idea that it has to be hard. It never has to be hard.
Yeah, that's just a program that we have where it's like, oh, everything has to be so difficult. It's hard work. And I love how Lidu's bringing us back into the play, the inner child, the fun, the joy. And I'm excited, Suzanne and Dahlia, to be with all of you together coming up in San Diego, which is Bliss on the Bay. Suzanne, what a great title for what we're talking about today, to just really get blissed out together in this beautiful resort and then dive into this transcendence and expansion and ascension that we'll all be doing together for the weekend.
Ecstatic bliss, right? And as I'm looking at these presenters, I mean, Ann Tucker channels angels, Sarah Bressman Cosme is going to do past life regressions. We know Daryl Lake has been channeling Bashar for 40 years, right? Ken Lloyd is going to be doing these transmissions from a divine council. Pamela Down also tunes into this great council of light. And so, these people have tapped into their gifts and abilities. And oh, Mark Anthony, he's the psychic explorer and he's a medium. I also just wanted to mention Rizwan Virk because he was at the Psy Games, and what he brings in is exactly what Dahlia was saying a few moments ago. This is a game. We're playing a game, and we volunteered to come into this game to learn certain lessons, to have certain experiences, so that we can continue to evolve, but also that we can experience love of self and others and joy, right? We can have those beautiful experiences. And even if they're not joy, even if it's sadness or grief or what have you, there's something in it for us that we're going to come out on the other side a better person for what we learned. And so I just love that Rizwan Virk, brings that in and reminds us, hey guys, this is a simulation. This is a game. You chose to play this game. Your eternal soul is playing this game with you as an avatar, a fractal, who of course is soul inspired. But I just love that, he brings that aspect in too.
Yeah, I'm so excited just for the presenters themselves. This is amazing energy, amazing people all together. And yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm so looking forward to being there and I just feel this heart centeredness that's going to be there, and just people being so open and ready to just express their love, express their godliness in what we're doing. And it's like none of us have to actually do anything to feel better about ourselves. It's more like we already recognize that we are one with source, and we're expressing that oneness through the things we're doing and the things we're talking about. And yeah, and I'm just so excited. and like I said, Lidu said it's going to be great, and she is pretty much never wrong. I've never even seen her be wrong once. So I'm so excited to why she says it's going to be so great.
Yay, I'm so happy to hear that. And for those of you who sign up for the event, please be sure to join us on the Sunset Dinner Cruise. Jimmy Church, who was the MC at the Psy Games event, is going to be our MC for the Sunset Dinner Cruise. So, Jimmy makes it so much fun. He's the best MC in the biz. I feel so blessed that he's going to be creating a wonderful, fun, exciting show for us on the Sunset Dinner Cruise. He's going to be engaging the audience in some fun and games. We're going to laugh and have a great time. Also, Omashar is just a phenomenal musician. He calls himself a metaphysical pop musician, metapop. But he plays just beautiful spiritual songs, and they're joyful and meaningful. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun on the Sunset Dinner Cruise.
That's amazing. I didn't even know Jimmy Church was going to be there. That makes me even more excited. And yeah, Lilu loves spiritual music, and so do I. But that's so cool. I'm like very happy now, like extra happy.
Yay.
It's going to be wonderful. I'm so excited. It's always beautiful to get soul family together like this and really create this incredible energy. And Dahlia, I'm just so excited to meet you and Lidu and experience the incredible phenomena myself. And I just love what you're bringing to the world and what you're sharing with the world, because you are really expanding people's consciousness just by being yourselves. And it's so powerful. And then bringing in the play, bringing in the joy, and Lidu bringing in saying, hey, just be fun and silly. It's just such an amazing teaching for all of us. I love it. So I'm excited to see you there in San Diego.
Same here.
Love you guys. Thank you. See you in about 6 weeks.
Definitely. So lots of love, everyone. And come and join us if you're watching live or on the replay. Coupon code right here, Bliss on the Bay, and you can visit the link below, San Diego Transcendence Retreat, and see you all soon. Lots of love. Bye.
Bye.